Well, hello, Becky.
Hello, my darling. How are you?
I'm
Welcome
good.
to.
How are you? Hello, everyone out there. Welcome to the podcast, our YouTube of Healing the Whole Body.
Yes, I'm so excited to be on another Monday. And of course, today we don't have a guest, but we got a lot of exciting things to share.
We really do. I'm excited about that because we have been working diligently behind the scenes to enhance the BNC community.
We have. We've added a couple courses, we've added some new meetings. And of course, we ended up and got you added on as a coach. Why don't you share that exciting news with everyone?
So I'm now one of the coaches, just like the other coaches that we've talked to in the past few weeks. You can actually sign up and get a one-on-one coaching with me. The link is in the BNC community. You can find me there. You can also, the link I have put on my Instagram and my bio as well. But I'm excited to get started with that. I'm also kind of my specialty and all of that, obviously, is my type 2 diabetes, right? So when you have something personal, you kind of become, for lack of a better word, an expert because you've lived it, right? And I have had my body has been so super resistant to absolutely anything and everything that I have done in coming up on 2 years in October. It has been a true struggle, but it is something that I have not given up on. I've done keto, I've turned it into keto, then carnivore, and then kind of a ketovore. But what I really did was eliminated the carbs and the sugars because my body reacts to the tiniest amount of carbs. I now currently, at the most, maybe 10 to 12 carbs in a day when I do eat. But I've had to incorporate a lot of things. Um, the big key, the big thing that I found, Becky, was it was more than the nutrition. It didn't matter what I ate, how I ate, what kinds of things I was eating. It just didn't matter. My body is that resistant.
Yep.
And so I had to figure out there's more to this. And the thing that I figured out was exactly what goes on inside of the BNC community. Um, the grounding, the morning sunlight, the working on the circadian rhythm, the leptin, my leptin resistance,
Yep.
hormones, how much of that is playing into everything. Well, it all plays into it. And until I started putting those pieces of the puzzle
Mhm.
along with the food that I was putting in my mouth, my body started to respond. Fat fasting, huge game changer. Eating within an hour of getting up in the morning, game changer. So those are things that, in all honesty, I would have never just figured out had I Googled how to do keto or Googled how to do carnivore or tried to. And I've been in other groups that they just never address somebody as severe as what I am.
Yep.
So that's what's made it so great. And I know, Becky, you have helped me tremendously with those pieces. And I do thank you for that because that is really what has gotten me off of my type 2 diabetes medicine. And I know, right? Um,
Which
but
is huge. As resistant as what you were, to be struggling because we've seen your numbers. You're working obviously with a physician. We're not claiming to, be a physician. I'm not giving medical advice. I'm not the one taking you off that medicine. But the practices and stacking those practices that we end up when we teach is what has led your resistant body to realize that, hey, I can be more metabolically flexible. I can end up and use the little bit of carbs when needed, but I can thrive on fat too. And I can end up and burn that fat because you've also had, some scale wins as well as non-scale wins. And, obviously coming off your medicine's huge non-scale victory.
Oh, yeah.
But
Yeah. I mean, I have dropped a size since even just the end of April when I went to
mhm,
KetoCon. This week on Instagram, I'm going to post a picture of me at KetoCon and a picture that I took this past weekend. And it's there's a visual difference, like, and it is. I mean, it's basically a complete size of clothes down. And so, yeah, I mean, a lot of people in this space, it's, oh, don't worry about the scale, blah, blah, blah. And that is true, except I wasn't shrinking. I wasn't doing anything because of that resistance going on in my body. Like, it was huge. Now, have I lost a lot? Not really. But I'm also lifting weights right now,
mhm,
too. I'm doing some heavy weights. So I'm building muscle along with it. So I'm shrinking. You can see it. Um, I am getting on the scale. Normally, I stay off the scale because that scale just messes with my head. I
mhm.
mean, I weighed myself this past Friday, and I gained 4 pounds. Now, I can promise you that's not what happened. That was not the complete picture of I did not gain 4 pounds because
Yeah.
of what I was eating. And so it's the weight it that I'm training. I was holding fluid. I
Mhm.
could tell. Speaking of, there's a whole thing with uh, I'm in menopause, and I also was surgically put into menopause because I had a hysterectomy. But I am in menopause, and it was funny. A couple weeks ago, my husband looked at me and he goes, "I swear you have a cycle." And you and I did some talking about it. And yes, coaches do need to talk to other coaches to figure things out. And go ahead and tell the folks what
Your lunar
another piece of
cycle.
that puzzle, right?
Yeah, so people tend to end up and also line up with the moon phases. That's part of the circadian aspect, right? The circadian, the infradian. Um, that's all part of this whole, beyond nutrition aspect that we're on, is looking at, okay, people that are in menopause that don't have a, typical cycle that a woman does, we still end up and sync up, whether it be the full moon or the new moon, and in this cycle. Now, there's a lot when we look at the moon phases as well that goes on with our body that is well beyond just, cycles. Um, but it's also, in depth into, our journey and everything else. But it does play a big role. And many people are like, yeah, it was a full moon last night, right? I've worked in a hospital and I'm like, dang, had to be a full moon. There is there is stuff to it. It's not just, an old wise tale. There is part of our metabolism that ends up and runs on this circadian, and we need the dark and the light. So when I speak of circadian or infradian, we're talking about not only the light and the dark, but we're talking about the changing of the seasons. All of that ends up and plays a role. Now we can use that to our benefit. We can use it to our advantage, such as, wintertime, free nature's cold therapy, right?
Right.
We can end up and use or put into place a method or a protocol or whatever you want to end up and call it once you start to learn these cycles. And that's another aspect when we talk about nutrition or proper nutrition that ends up and it makes a difference is yours, when we were the two of us were talking about, our cycles, one of us lines up with the new moon, one lines up with full moon. So our, what we do is a little bit different. And it goes into fasting when you can end up, putting a little bit more fasting. Otherwise, you're going to end up and throw like your cortisol off. You're going to throw, I really say there's four main hormones that if we can end up and control them, the cortisol and the melatonin, because they oppose each other, right? If we're going to end up and have high cortisol, obviously we're going to have high insulin as well. So that's a third one, but we're not going to end up and have the melatonin production. And if we don't have this melatonin production secretion, there we go, at night, then we're not going to end up and get that quality sleep to get the autophagy and get, that aspect at night, but also the leptin that docks at night to tell our body, hey, you have fat cells, you have energy to end up and use, you got to you got the reserves, so you can end up and do this. So it's not going to, try to produce that sugar so that we can end up and, go find food the next day. But yeah, you can also kind of hijack that cortisol, which by eating in the morning is, one way to kind of suppress that, start the organs on the circadian cycle by it getting, food code, if you
Mhm.
will, and starting that whole process. And that's kind of what like you said, you transition your meals because you were a faster. You were doing some pretty long fasts. And I'm like, whoa, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Because you were fasting, but you were gaining weight, but your blood sugar was going up.
Right.
So we kind of, reversed that and changed that around, and you've had good results with it.
I have. I have. Now I've noticed honestly this past week, um, and the full mine is the new moon cycle. That's what I'm on. And in 2 days we will have a new moon. And so what did I notice this week with my continuous glucose monitor? Everything's a lot higher this
Mm-hmm.
week. And we also figured out that I am highly susceptible to the heat that is happening here in Texas. I mean, I was went somewhere tonight, and as I was driving home, my actual temperature on my car was reading 107. When I looked at what it was on my watch, it said 103. Now, we went camping this weekend, and on the setup, when we did the whole setup and everything, um, I watched my blood sugar shoot up well over 120 points. And I would have never known that had I not been wearing my continuous glucose monitor.
Mm-hmm.
We know, but that goes into the hormones, right? The leptin. There's a problem there. I have a hard time sweating. What is that? That's the leptin in my brain is not. So it's things that I've had to learn, that I would have never figured out had I not gone beyond the nutrition, right?
Yeah.
Well, and again, I'd circle back to what we represent here, because they're huge puzzle pieces, and people are missing out on that. And it's kind of tragic. It's kind of sad. I always feel bad for people when I see them struggling with things where it's like, oh my goodness, if you just went out in the morning. I mean, we were talking to someone on Friday, and she has a hard time getting around. She has to have a walker. She didn't want to go outside to get and we suggested open your window
Yep.
or stand at your back door and open the door and just stand there and get that light on your
Mm-hmm.
eyes, and on your skin and so forth. People don't even know what that does. I mean, we've been so conditioned to wearing sunglasses and, oh my gosh, lather down with your sunscreen and put a hat on and, long sleeves when you go out. Like we were doing ourselves very big a
Mm-hmm.
disservice. So things like that. So I want to coach people that are like me, right? And not like me. Because started out like everyone else, and then my body just went, yeah, we ain't playing nice with you. Um, in fact, the doctor that I'm working with said that my body is very stubborn, and he would have to say that I'm the second most stubborn patient he's ever had. And we're actually going to have him on here. Um, he's agreed to come on so we can talk to him. But he said it's going to be a battle of who's more stubborn, my body or me. Well, I can promise you it's me because I'm already off my meds, and just the changes that have happened in 2 years. 2 years ago, if somebody said you were going to become a coach and coach people one on one, I would be like, nah, you're not talking about me. I mean, I have battled depression, severe depression. It's always the unspoken thing that nobody talks about, anxiety. I can promise you that my anxiety has gotten a whole lot better. Now, are there times where I feel it? Sure. But because of Kevin and his breath work, I now know how to deal with those anxieties and how you do that. Also with Sly, Sly has given us a lot of things to do because she battles some of that as well. So we've got a well-rounded group, and I'm really excited about that. But again, I'm a coach. Who knew?
Yay. Which, and speaking of, talking to this BNC member on Friday, that's the other part of the exciting news is not only, who would have thought 2 years ago that you were going to be a coach, but let alone doing, a podcast together, but you're also hosting a meeting, and you started a meeting, which is a very important meeting because it does kind of go into what you were just talking about with the depression aspect. So why don't you tell everyone the additional meaning that we added, or two
So,
meanings, I guess.
yeah, well, yeah, actually, we did. That's right. I'll let you talk about the other one, but the one that we were talking to a group of people, and they were talking about how important it is to be able to talk, right? No particular agenda, no, because, and we named it. Let me tell you what we named it: supercharge your mindset. What does that mean? Well, that means that if the mind goes with the body, right? Again, we're beyond the nutrition. And you sometimes, something's going on. Your family is giving you fits, or your spouse, or work, or, any number of all the factors of daily life is happening. This is kind of a safe place to come and just talk it through and get the encouragement that you need, and get that, get it off your chest, get it out there, okay, well, have you thought about doing this, have you thought about doing that, what worked for you in the past, things like that. Here's the big key to it all: we don't record it. Everything else in the BNC communities, all of the meetings that we have are recorded, not mine, because it is a safe place to come and talk. We don't want anybody going back and re-listening to it. You need to be on there and talk. And it starts at 11:30 a.m. Central Time, and it goes for an hour from 11:30 to 12:30. And again, that's Central Time. So if you're on Eastern and Mountain and blah, 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 you'll have to calculate that out, right? But I think it was a success. What do you think?
It was very powerful. So you had an amazing turnout last week. There were several people on there. They were all, very appreciative. They were very uplifted and relieved after the fact of they were able to share, because not that's the problem with social media, right? Is it's the highlight reel of everyone's journey. They don't have, a story on Instagram that says, "Hey, today sucked." My husband, or whatever the case may be. my family kept pushing food at me, or whatever maybe is weighing them down. Maybe it's more, in depth, and we've gone in those conversations too. Um, but being able to go and know that other people are on the same page, they understand, they end up and are able to, listen, and like Tina says, it was a fantastic meeting. um just re relate to someone, right? Know that you have a community there. You have someone that is, willing to end up and support you through not only the good times, and not only give you, advice, but be that listening ear for you.
Yeah. 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 It's so important. And I mean, I even shared something that was going on that I had to set some boundaries. And by me sharing that, opened up a whole conversation that people started sharing about how they were kind of maybe taken advantage of, or blamed for things that wasn't anywhere in their control, things like that. But it was about setting healthy boundaries, and it just morphed into this whole conversation that again, you could just see the people sharing. It was like this big collective sigh of relief because they got it off their chest and they were able to talk it out. And I mean, other of our members were talking. I mean, they're talking to each other and they were asking questions, and that's what we wanted. That's what we wanted to cultivate was again that area where, hey, come here for an hour, let's talk, let's just let's just talk. We need to talk it out, because once you do, you can walk out that door and you can kind of face the world again. And especially for some people that don't have support. For the longest time, personally, my husband did not support my keto journey. He did, in the fact that, he wanted me to get healthy and blah, blah, blah. But it always was a stopping point till we went out to eat, or we went somewhere where it's like, just eat it. Can't you just have a bite of that? Can't you just, and it was like, oh my goodness. And it was like, I can, I choose not to. But it went on for the longest time, and his eyes didn't honestly get open until we went to KetoCon. And now he doesn't have to eat as meticulous as what I do, but he no longer gives me a hard time because he now understands it. But I'll tell you what, had I had a place to go to really talk about that, besides, my girlfriends who don't understand the journey that I'm on, particularly, right? They
Mm-hmm.
support me, but like-minded people, they get it when I say, well, we went out to eat and I ordered a plain burger, right? Like somebody else
Yep.
is gonna go get it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just there, for support. I mean, we have, with that meeting included, we've got 10 great meetings a week. Many of them are, a guided meeting or a teaching meeting. Several of them are, also just whether it's mental health related, addiction recovery, um, the breath work, talking about different strategies. Like you said, Kevin was able to kind of give you a suggestion on the glucose, but this one particularly is not necessarily just for one topic. It's any topic that is weighing that heart and soul down.
That's right. It was nice actually. Coach Kevin came on. He joined us, and he actually sent us some breath work to take care of, like to deal. And it was like it was so empowering and so great that we we learned something, and we're just in there just talking, right? So
Yeah.
it was neat. But tell the folks what else you added right after the supercharge your mindset.
Yeah, so the one thing that I realize is lacking in a lot of communities is the fact of being able to really kind of navigate your way around. A lot of them are self-paced, self-taught. You're in a group, someone may have been in the group for, several months ahead of you, and you're just trying to figure it out, right? And kindness isn't always the best in people, and so when someone would ask questions, they either one wouldn't ask questions and then they felt overwhelmed, or they end up and never really navigated their way around and got that help and support they needed. So I added in a Friday onboarding meeting or a find your way. We want you to be able to find your way, to be able to find your way successfully around the BNC community, navigate it with a breeze, log in, and be able to get to point A to point B, to, finding your tribe, finding your community that is there to support you. So yeah, we added that meeting. It is recorded. It's uploaded into the replay links, and I go through the different ways I screen share during that meeting. Or I should say we, because it is open to other members of the team. So it's not just, myself doing it, but the team has the ability during the onboarding or finding your way meeting to navigate the way. I've done, through the computer, showing the way on a laptop or on a PC, monitor. I've also pulled the cell phone up and, okay, when you log in on mobile or when you download, a specific app that you can find the BNC community on, this is what the mobile app looks like. And this is where you can find the meetings. This is where, you can find our challenges. This is where, all of that can end up and be pulled up. But like I said, if you want to find your way, it is easy to navigate. It's very simple. It's very simplistic. It's all there. It's all labeled. But still, we want you to be able to navigate that.
Yeah, and that's only a half hour that
Mm-hmm.
we're doing that. So it's little bits of small
Yes.
doses of, the kind of the technical end of things, like how, again, um, I'm gonna actually be the one to do that this week. And I am a software trainer. That's what I do for a living. Not everybody is a software trainer and can get around, right? So it's little things like that, that it's like, this is, you don't have to, how to sign up to attend one of the meetings will trigger you to get an email. So you're going to get like an email with a link in it to the meeting. You can also add it to the calendar, and specifically, I'm going to talk about the Google Calendar, and I'm going to show that this Friday on how I can do that. And then I can just, whether I'm on my phone or my laptop, I can go to my calendar and click the link and be able to go into the meeting. So we're going to talk about a few things like that as well. So that was exciting. It was well received. When we, us, all rolled it out. It went over good. But again, it's the little thing. It's just little doses of information and letting you kind of marinate and work on
Mm-hmm.
it. And that's what we want. None of this, we want this to be overwhelming for anyone.
Correct. And when they end up and join, so you can find us if you go to bnccommunity.com. And right now, if you end up and use the code BNC, it does save you 50%. So that literally puts it less than $20 a month to end up and join. You get all the meetings, all 10 of the meetings. So 2 breath work, mental health, body, wellness, supercharging your mindset, intuitive steps, so the circadian side of things. Right now we're speaking the quantum perspective of food, aromatherapy. So yeah, you get a full week's Monday through Friday worth of meetings, and it's all for less than $20 a month.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. It's like when I used to go to Starbucks, right? how much did I pay for a venti coffee with, of course, I would get the latte and the blah, 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 right? The two pumps of this and, this and that. Um, and how much was I paying for that? So, for what, two or three of those in a month would buy, your membership to the BNC with this code. So, that's a heck of a deal. So hopefully we get more people to take advantage of this, because I think the thing is we want to help,
Yes.
right?
That is that is our mission. Um, is to be able to help support them, right? I want to be able to help those that need the help, right? And I don't want to necessarily target the elite. I don't want to target, the the people that are already, doing well, right? I want to be able to help those that need the help, and that is ultimately our vision, if you will, is to be able
Mhm.
to help them. And our mission statement, if you will, or our vision statement, I should say. Um, I'll end up and I'll pull it up and read it here for the community. Our vision is to inspire people to be able to connect to their natural health and align their lives through a more natural, intuitive approach. We will be working with clients, having conversations in online meetings where we collectively explore new and ancient nutritional and wellness ideas. So, again, this is beyond the nutrition, while receiving and providing direct support to navigate through an individually chosen practice. It's not a one size fits all program. There are several members within the community, and I can guarantee we all end up and do it a little bit differently. But ultimately, it is the way that is to your health creation. And so, like I said, the BNC's mission is to connect and assist and to naturally align circadian aligned cycle to create better sleep and sustainable energy with hormonal balance, to provide a non dogmatic approach to wellness, to share educational knowledge and experience to create a successful individual, and to teach powerful and innovative modalities to take the members' healing to their next level.
Yeah, yeah, that is it. I mean, that's the passion of every single one of us, that do these meetings, and that's also, so if you do decide that you want me to coach you, I have again priced it low. Um, and I'm going to run some specials. We're going to work on some specials to get some coaching, kind of an added value within the BNC communities. Becky and I are still kind of chewing on that right now, but because we want to help, and I know that we all want to make it affordable. We're not going to get anybody wanting one-on-one coaching if I charge them $100 for 30 minutes. Like, that's not going
Yeah.
to happen. Um, we just want to make it. We want to help. We want to be supportive to you and help you out with that. So I mean, I'm excited. Um, all the changes that, oh my goodness, all the changes we've put into place, like it kind of makes me giggle.
It's exciting. In August, I mean, is going to end up and be, a fun month because we've added the new meetings, we've added um classes. We have a Fat Fast Master class coming up at the end of August that
Yes.
we'll end up and be doing, and I'll talk more of that in a little bit. But we've added all of this addition, and the community is just thriving, right? We hear it, we hear the testimonies, we hear the reviews, we hear it all, and it's just a raving review. So it's a little family. um we call it a tribe, we call it a community, but it's really ultimately a family.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm personally excited about the different master classes that are in the works. Um, we're working on stuff going clear out to, even the beginning of the year. So I mean, if you guys knew how much Becky and I really talked, not just on here, but we're working on stuff for you. I mean, her and I were even texting and working this weekend on stuff.
Yeah.
So I mean, it just, but again, it goes beyond the nutrition. I mean, I keep repeating it. I know, Sherry, you keep saying it, but it really is. It's the pieces of the puzzle. You've got to add more than just the food going in your mouth. Um, we again, you can be paleo, you can be whole foods, you can be, but there's still an element out there that no matter how much you try, at some point everything kind of screeches to a halt for everyone. And that's when you have to start looking at other things.
Mm-hmm. And that's where we ended up and brought the team together to do the community. And it has been a collective effort, because I couldn't do it, just on my own. The team brings each inspirational little piece, to the puzzle, and with this team, we're on a mission to end up and help the people.
And if you guys are curious on who the team is, for the past few weeks, every Monday evening when we went live, we had one of the team members on to tell their story and what they do and why they felt so passionate about it. So you can actually go back and re-watch the YouTubes from previous weeks to meet the team. And that was really important to us because we wanted to give everyone an overview of who these people are, and what it was, what their testimony was that got them to the place they're at today. And very powerful. If you listen to each one of them, I even learned more about them than I even knew. So yeah, we're again, there's, if it's not me, if it's not Becky, it might be Sly, it might be Renee, it might be Kevin, it might be Dave. Um, I didn't forget anyone, right? Um, yeah. Uh, so we've got coaches available for you to meet you where you're at. So, um, are you ready to tell them about the master
Sure.
class? Okay.
So the end of August, we will be doing, many of you that have been following the YouTube prior to now. I mean, the channel's been here for a couple years. Anyone that has also followed me on my social media knows that I end up and do more of a higher fat keto and carnivore approach, right? Depends on which season of the year I am in. But last November, I rolled out the first Fat Fast Masterclass. Um, we're rolling it out again, but this year it has changed. There is new information. And so we called it the Fat Fast Masterclass 2.0. I will share a link here in the chat. Um, that is, it's amazing. Sorry, I was just reading Tina's comment as I was putting this in the chat. So slowly but surely, many people want that benefit of fasting, right? They want to be able to fast, but they have the reverse results that we typically seek. And they don't have the mental clarity. They don't have, amazing energy. They feel very fatigued. They feel lightheaded. They feel very symptomatic when fasting. And that's where more of a fat fast comes in. And I'm not going to give out too much of the information because I do plan on doing a 90-minute Zoom masterclass on August 31st. It will start at 6:30 Central Time. And I'll go through, I'll teach the course, I'll teach the masterclass, but also you will have the ability to have the course material in Kajabi. You will be able to pull that up. You'll be able to read through it yourself. You'll be able to reference the slides, because I have a 4-tier approach that I've set up, a flow chart, if you will, depending where you're starting. So someone that is new, that is a beginner, is not maybe going to end up and be the same as someone that's more in the advanced, or vice versa, if you will. And so meeting the person where they're at, where they are metabolically, depends where they're going to kind of fall throughout this masterclass. I will teach that. I will be there to support. I will have 4 weekly follow-ups. So we will end up and do actually I know several of our coaches will end up and be in this masterclass as well. We will be doing this with you. I will be doing a several day anywhere, and I'll say how many days when I teach the class, but I'll be doing this several day fat fast following this, and we'll have that one of the first follow-ups in the middle of there. So I will be doing it with you. You will have support. You will have the follow-ups. You will also, within this 2.0 masterclass, you will get a month of the BNC membership. So everything that Sherri and I just talked about of the Beyond Nutrition community, you will end up and get this. If you end up and you register for the masterclass, you will get that benefit for September. So if you are already in the BNC community, you have a special link in the community to save you, because you're already paying for the membership. So you get a little bit more of a discount being a BNC member. But if you use the coupon code BNC on that Fat Fast link that I shared in the chat or in the comments of this video, which also, speaking of comments, make sure that you are, liking and sharing and, letting the whole algorithms of YouTube know that you like the content that we're putting out, that you like what, we're sharing, and subscribe to the channel so that you get the notifications. But yeah, so that will end up and be the end of August. But like you said, we've got several more coming up over the end of the year, beginning of next year. So I'm really excited for where things are going and the vision that we have with the BNC community.
Absolutely. Well, we hope you come along for the ride. If you don't already subscribe to our YouTube here, go ahead and do that. That way you will be alerted when we go live. Again, we go live every Monday evening at 7. I just lost my time there in my head. 7 p.m. Central. I was like, all of a sudden I started calculating in my head, like, what time zone? Oh my goodness. But yeah, 7 p.m. Central. Again, subscribe. We would love for you to do that. We're here. We're going to have some more special guests coming up.
Mm-hmm.
That we're talking to. Oh, and what Becky forgot to mention in the Fat Fast 2.0 masterclass, she's got some giveaways happening.
I do.
So so this is some exciting stuff. Why would you want to do a fat fast? Because why would you want to do that, Becky?
Well, so there's a lot of benefits in doing a fat fast. Like I said, the mental clarity, the brain energy, the just the overall body energy that comes when we feed ourselves with this clean source of energy, but also we still mimic those biological effects of a fast. And the benefits that we've seen also on mental health aspect, stress levels. I mean, we've had people that, are in very stressful situations that get very kind of moody, hangry, but yet they are able to end up and still push through those stressful times by doing a fat fast. And yeah, there's a lot of other benefits, but a lot of that also is into the masterclass. So you'll have to come join me for the 90 minutes to figure out the rest of the reasons why you would want to do it.
Absolutely.
And who should, who shouldn't. I list all of that in there as far as what it is, why to do it, who should, who shouldn't, how to, what to eat. Because it's not just, here, eat, smaller amount and call it a fast. No, there's certain aspects of what we eat specifically depending on which of those four levels. So all of that is in that 90-minute masterclass. And like I said, you get the slides so that you can save them, you can download them, you can, do what you end up and need to do so that you are successful during this. But
Absolutely. And I, for one, am going to be an attendee. And I'm going to be doing it right along with everyone else that's attending. So, and just a little sneak on that is my body responds very well to a fat fasting. I know Sly, her body responds very well to that. So you're going to learn about that, and I'm excited to really dive in even deeper than what even I know. So thank you for doing that, Becky.
absolutely, I'm excited. It's, been my passion over the last 4 years is the higher fat. It was kind of funny. I still chuckle when we ended up and had Coach Dave on, uh, for his weekly meeting. Him and I have known each other for several years, and when I was on his podcast, I was known as, the queen of fat because I do a higher fat. I mean, I've done, 90, 95, 97% fat, depending on, if I'm fat fasting. So I've used it over the course of several years. It's not something that is new to me. It's not just going out and, eating multiple sticks of butter either. So, it's
Right,
I'm excited for it.
right. Well, I mean, we will have another update probably in a month or two on what else we've added, what else is going on. I'm excited on where things are headed. Again, we want to make it affordable to you. If you want to throw that banner back up on the how they can join. Um, and again, um, less than $20 a month. Like, holy cow. And that's for life. So once you sign up, it we're not going to turn around and go, oh, we just increased our rates. Like now it's going to be 25 a month or whatever. We're not going to do that. That's you're locked in. So that's kind of some cool stuff too, especially in this day and age where everything has been increased like crazy. So
Yes. I was just reading the comments. I can't wait. I'm so excited. It's an amazing family, all kinds of support. Yes, the BNC community is amazing. We have amazing members. So,
absolutely. So if you're not following Becky and I on Instagram, go ahead and go do that. Um, you can find us there. We do put out kind of what's going on in the week so you can see what's going on with the BNC community. And so you can see that kind of thing. You guys have to see one of Becky's current posts she put out. Uh, do you want to tell them?
sure. You know me, I like to kind of somewhat hide in the background, right? But yeah, so by doing the higher fat side, I practice what I preach, right? So being consistent, going out and getting morning light, getting that nutrition, and being able to make it a lifestyle, being able to stack these practices. And 4 years ago, when we went and took family pictures, I hate the picture, one because I hated what I looked like. I'm one of those people that would rather end up and take pictures than be in the pictures. And I realize it's a form of body dysmorphia. I realize it's the mindset aspect of what I deal with. And again, this is, the aspects of not talking about it. Or many people don't admit that, this is where they've come from. And it was several years of yo-yoing, right? And we went to take family pictures, and I had a waist trainer on and I had Spanx on to cinch myself into the clothing because we were supposed to wear. I'm in middle of Nebraska for anyone watching, YouTube that doesn't know where I live. I live in the middle of Nebraska and we were wearing Husker shirts. And so to, cinch myself, and I say that because of all the stuff that I had on undergarment, underneath for these family pictures. It was my mom, for my mom's birthday. And I look back at those pictures and you can see, how I'm just like a block because everything is just compressed. And I was an extra large. In order to fit into the extra large shirt, because I hide behind, hoodies, I hide behind, um, because I was over 200 pounds. And so I did the pictures. I use that oftentimes as a beginner photo because that's really when I took my health back. In that picture, yes, size was a matter, but I was also very unhealthy on the inside. I was dealing with the prediabetes. I was dealing with the Hashimoto's. I was dealing, with several cardiac issues, asthma issues, depression, everything that goes along with it. By practicing what I preach, I was able to fit into a extra small this last weekend and comfortably go out in public without any form of shapewear on underneath. And that was huge because when I took it out of the closet, I'm like, oh, this ain't gonna fit, let alone, be seen in public because I'm constantly, pulling. I and it wasn't even tight, it wasn't like form fitting, squeezing myself into type thing. And that is just a testament of when we regulate these four main hormones that I talk about, that I'm on this mission about, of being able to focus beyond just the nutrition piece, regulating our body so that our body works optimally. We have the power to get healthy. I am no longer dealing with Hashimoto's. I'm not a diabetic. My A1C is under 4.8. I'm not on any of the 7 pharmaceutical medications, and I'm able to fit in smaller clothing with a positive mindset of I can't be seen in this because, my body is that person I was before. And I was able to go and celebrate our, bonus child for her bridal shower and be comfortable, be in public, and be right there and be present and be in that social setting. So it was a huge accomplishment. One, not like I said, not only the size of the clothing and the scale, like, going back to the scale doesn't always define us because you really have to take those pictures. And that's where we'll be excited to see your picture coming out this week because that's one of the things I tell coaching clients. Take your pictures, take your measurements. Yes, I end up and I post on my social media the difference in the scale, which reminds me, I forgot to do that. I'll have to do that in the morning. Um, Forgot about that. It was a Monday. I'll just say that it was a Monday. But I do post, but it's not the end all be all. There was more for me. There was more in that picture that I shared this weekend than what I end up and I post of tracking, weight loss or gain for that matter. I'm an open book. Some weeks I may gain.
Absolutely. Well, I private messaged you when I seen the picture and said, "Ooh, cute top," right? Not even knowing what that
What was to come.
represented. Yeah, yeah. And it was, and you looked great in it. So kudos, good job. So anyway, I don't know. Do you have anything else?
I don't. I just appreciate everyone that comes and watches. And like we've said, we are here every Monday night. I also followed this up with a meeting in the BNC community. So if you are, interested, definitely check that link out. And even if you sign up tonight, you can still end up enjoying the meetings tonight. Otherwise, you have the rest of the week to join any of the meetings that we have. So,
Absolutely. Well, thanks, Becky. This was fun. I hope everyone is as excited as we are. So, aw, look at what one of the comments are.
yes,
Aw.
thank you.
See, that's what I love about the community is the encouragement and the family aspect that we all hold each other and catch each other and push each other and love on each other and
Yeah.
so anyway. All right. Well, hope everyone has a fantastic week. This is Monday. We got Monday in the books almost here. So
Yeah.
we will see you next week here at 7 p.m. Central. And we're going to go live again. We're going to keep doing this. So hopefully you keep watching.
Absolutely. We'll see y'all next week. Have a